Yes, here we go. It's a wee late night S Express, a wee Ask the Bus, if you will. Obviously, this has been a wee bit unannounced, a wee bit, a wee bit out of nowhere, you could say. I had the odd request, kind of think by anyone in particular, to go live tonight, so we thought we would. And you know what? The Tuesday ticket we were going to do earlier, I've just been a wee bit. There's just been other stuff going on, so I couldn't do the Tuesday ticket earlier. And then, of course, when you get asked to do a wee, just go do it, Bhoycie. Go on, get on, make people happy. I thought, fuck it, why not? We'll go on and we'll do the usual sort of 20 minutes, half an hour when it is this sort of situation. And look at everyone jumping in the chat. We love to see it. Patrick McLaughlin, David Scullion, William Martin, Rooster, David McMenemy, John Boyce 67, Graham. Yes, welcome aboard. We'll do all that good stuff very quick when I do it going on, because I always feel a wee bit like, I didn't like ramming all that stuff down, folks. So I know you're meant to, if you've got a YouTube channel, be like, hey guys, remember and hit the bell. It's just not fucking me. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, do hit subscribe, do become a fucking member and share it, slag the hair, all that carry on. But just personally, just fucking, do you know what I mean? I didn't like all that stuff. Phil's good at it though. Phil's good at it. Look at Vedette, just straight in there way. Yes, let's go. Vedette, I love it. No bother at all. Okay, let's do it. Weirdy beardy. Hail, big boy. Thank you. Rooster's been on holiday the last 2 days. What have you missed? Not a lot, to be honest. But we'll have a wee chat about a couple of things. First thing we'll put out to you guys out there, and I think it's a fair comment. Celtic did a tweet that was loading with 3 out of 5 of like the reloading bars. A lot of people read into that might mean 3 new like recontracts have been done in the shape of Kyogo, Maeda and McGregor, and there's 2 more to be announced. Is that just like reading a wee bit too much into it? Is it not just so it looked like a bar that was like, or a page that was loading? But what is it they could be loading, I suppose, as well? So let's put it out there to you guys in the group chat if we are going to be falling into this theory. And I don't mind I don't call it a conspiracy, I don't mind a wee theory that's got a bit of imagination in it. Aye, Pam's right, I hit the like button as well. That's the one. Like, share, slag the hair, hit subscribe, go to piesports.com, 12.5% discount, bus 1888, all that shite. But yes, if the theory's right, okay, 2 more players we could potentially recontract. Who would you choose? I think Cameron Carter-Vickers. Again, I mean, I've got to be consistent. Cameron Carter-Vickers only signed his first Celtic contract last summer. Bear in mind he was on loan the year before. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it was a 4-year deal he signed, so he's got 3 years left. I think, don't get me wrong, if it was him, I'd be fucking buzzing. But, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to, if I said Maeda was a wee bit short notice, or a wee bit quick to be doing that after 18 months, I've got to kind of be consistent. But I suppose Cameron Carter-Vickers' importance to the Celtic squad compared with Maeda's, I think he is more important. Weirdy Beardy says it is CCV and O'Reilly. Or is that just who he wants? That's who he wants. Sorry, because I did ask who do you want. I'm now quoting you as like you're just ITK now, Weirdy Beardy. Apologies, mate. Well, I think a lot of people would like it to be them. But I'm going to go with bus regular Johnny Logue. And he wants CCV and a tatty. I think if you're going to do Maeda after 18 months, and my hunch is, as I say, I think Celtic are going through the gears now. I think Celtic are trying to take themselves to a different space now. And with that, I think you announced Maeda as one of your warm-up ones. Callum McGregor slap bang in the middle, because it's like, who's seen a 5-year deal coming for El Capitano? Now, I'm sorry, I think it will be Hatate that they will have definitely had the conversation. Put it this way, and I don't want to be negative because they're in a good place right now. If Rio Hatate doesn't announce, or Celtic don't announce Rio Hatate signed a new deal by the time the season starts, I'm now, for very rare occasions in the last few years since I've been doing this whole podcast game, I'm going to now go with the narrative that he did not take up the offer. I think Celtic will have offered. I think if Celtic have put Cal McGregor in a 5-year deal, a new deal for Maeda after 18 months, and Kyogo, your top goal-scoring striker, on a new improved deal. I think when you look at those, you go, well, of course they're going to have asked Hatate then as well. It's just a fact. So we'll maybe get a better idea come the beginning of the season as to where Hatate's futures he sees lying. Obviously, he made some interesting comments. And I don't blame him. He said, he's not in a rush to go to Saudi. The EPL is his drive. We spoke about it on the bus. Does that offend you? Are you cool with that? It'll never be something I think I can get used to, is players talking about a career trajectory outside the Celtic. But notwithstanding that, the goalposts have moved in footballing terms. And they're beginning to move again, by the way. But what Hatate's saying is something that probably a hell of a lot of footballers that have played for us has shown great form for us, a hell of a lot of loyalty towards us in terms of, or a lot of love for us, I should say. But really, that's what they wanted to do. So he just came out and said it. But now knowing what Celtic sort of moves have been this summer, I'm absolutely convinced that he will be someone who's been offered a new deal either by now or will be in the very near future. My guess would be the offer will already been made. He's a top player. And I just wonder if maybe that one doesn't get over the line, or you don't hear about a new announcement for him, but you do hear about other players, then it might mean that he's not. Alistair Jack says Hatate will sign a Petrov-type deal. Fair enough. Rooster thinks what came to mind with Maeda is, did he have a new contract triggering his deal? I don't know, Rooster. 18 months in, I don't know. I think there was one with Jota where if a certain amount was bid, there was a rumour anyway. I mean, I don't know any of this for a fact, pal. But if there was a bid made of 25 million or over, that automatically put him up to a wage of around 45 grand a week. I mean, I don't know what could have happened in 18 months that would have been that contract trigger, as it were. One full complete season at Celtic and you'll get a new 4-year deal. I don't see that being the case. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what other... We win a treble, you get a new one. I'd imagine there'd be a few players on that if we were dishing them out. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. That that's been a trigger. I think Celtic are doing exactly what Stephen McDonald was saying. Just try to keep the team happy right now. What we're doing is we're whetting the appetite. And what we're also doing is satisfying a lot of fans. Maybe not Gary Brown at this point. I've seen Gary in the chat saying, same old Celtic, not signed anyone. Honestly, I mean, I fucking get most things wrong, Gary, right? I do have a feeling with this one, I'm right that the reason we've not seen the outlandish signings, the big Celtic signings happening yet, is because these will be ones we'll only be able to do later in the window. And the reason for that will be the competition for these guys will be such that we just might need to hope that deals fall through, player doesn't want to go there, etc. And then the window of opportunity sort of opens for us. Do you know what I mean? I'm very, very, very zen about the fact we've not signed any Brendan Rodgers, I keep calling it a Brendan Rodgers sign as of yet. And I think in the meantime, to keep fans happy and perhaps to allow other guys to come in on a higher wage tier, we're now doing it this way. Do you know what I mean? We're going like, okay, if we do get some of these targets that we are focusing on, and we know we might need to be more patient on them, but if they come in, they're going to be on double, say, for example, what one of our higher earners are. We might need to open, that out to and reward our key players on a similar if not a wee bit less, but a similar sort of structure. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. I see, to be honest with you, I'm very, very relaxed that Celtic haven't got their best guys in yet. Let's keep the future planning going on. And we've seen that with the home signing, the Tilio signing. But let Brendan wait and pick his moment. Well, not pick his moments, wait on his moment of opportunity to arise if he is looking at players that normally wouldn't be able to attract. I don't know what everyone's thoughts on all that, but that's what I think. Vincent O'Brien says, hail, hail from Dublin. Nice one, mate. Hope you are good. Santoy, the biscuit tin is bulging. It is, but you know, how do you feel about it? Would you think Celtic should have already been, signing players? Like, it's not rush here. We've got a fantastic squad. We've got the right manager in. They're fucking 3 days in to him working with the full squad as a whole right now. Let him assess that. And as I say, not just will he be assessing that and work out who he can afford to let go, or remain, but he'll also be looking at it as this window runs for another, what, we're on the 11th of July. We're looking at another 50 days of the window. Come on. Let's stay cool here. We're getting our own key assets in order first, and then to bring in guys that are going to actually challenge our key assets for a game in the team, then we'll just need to be a wee bit more patient on them, because there'll be other clubs with more resources than us probably interested as well. But they don't have the name Glasgow Celtic, and I think that's so important as well. Stephen Murdoch watching Pish with no idea that the bus is on. Well, mate, I had no idea the bus was going to be on either. I just get talked into doing these things. I'll go do a bus, Bhoycie. Go on. I'm like, all right. It's easy for me. Why not? You've got to do it sometimes. You know what I mean? Cool Daddy says, Bhoycie, it's a fantastic squad for the league, but not for Europe. Like I say, Cool Daddy, I agree with you, but luckily, with the point you're making, let's be real here. Champions League doesn't start till September. Guaranteed group access. The league starts maybe before then. We're already in situ for the league. I think some of the guys will get, or want to get, of the Champions League ability that we're looking for, Cool Daddy. We'll just need to be patient on, pal, and we need to maximise the actual scale of how big or how long the window is. Don't need the players in right now for Europe or that, pal. So we'll be all right. We'll be all right. I think you should be more excited that we're not taking the first flight of fancy. We're not just going, oh, he's achievable. Those guys are on the Celtic list. The Brendan Rodgers signings that come in will be 100%. You will know that is for the Champions League. And if you think Celtic can jump to the head of a queue for guys of Champions League ability, when the competition and the amount of scouting that goes on across Europe now, I think we'd be kidding ourselves on. And I think we need to be realistic about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, just be patient, because if it is the right players that come in, fucking, how much better is that than going, oh, but we signed them before X date when I was getting a wee bit a few ants in my pants. Nobody wants to be like that. Nobody wants to be like that. Do you know what I mean? This is a new era. New Celtic, new danger. I think I said. Anyway, there was a couple other stories. I can't even remember what I was going to talk about. I fucking looked them up too. Kyogo. Yes, Kyogo did his re-interview, and he seemed to be extremely excited to working at Postecoglou. Are we seeing the way Joe Hart's spoken, Matt O'Reilly initially, now Kyogo? What do you guys think? Now, I want to be completely balanced, as always. I am very much on the Team Brendan bus, as it were. You know, Brendan's welcome on this one as well, anytime. But whilst that's all in motion, and whilst I am buzzing that he's manager, we do also need to accept there's an element of our fan base that aren't over enamoured with it, albeit I think a lot of them are kind of converting as times went on anyway. But that's not to say others that weren't exactly happy about it were wrong. And if they're still not happy about it, fair enough. Celtic will be acutely aware of all of that. And I am convinced. No, I'm not convinced of. That's a wee bit far. I have a suspicion that some of what we're seeing from the players and maybe the contract renewals are plays by the club, and it's almost like they're lining it all up so that Brendan's getting the love bombing. So if you see, for example, if you're a young fan, right? Say you're fucking, I don't know, 20. It wasn't that long ago, man. But say you're a 20-year-old and you remember Rogers when you were at high school, and then he fucks off, and then you're like, oh, him. You might be harder to convince at 20 years old that this is still a great managerial appointment. That might be more tricky for you at that age. Do you know what I mean? It certainly would have been, I was a riot at 20 years old. So you've got to wonder then, is maybe some of the stuff like seeing their favourite players come out, and O'Reilly sounded like he was making a contrasting compare of Ange and Rodgers when talking about the canteen. Undeniably, Joe Hart talked about the experience with down south and against him, and the meetings with him. And then today, Kyogo, Ange's absolute darling of the team, the most biasedly picked position at the start of last season. I know Kyogo went on to earn that right with merit and distinction, but at times when he wasn't playing particularly well, and still chose him. Don't think Ange ever gave him a route. Everyone's built up that narrative. He's Ange's guy. He's Ange's boy. He'll be going to Spurs. Give him a new deal as well. Now get him in front of the cameras talking about Brendan. And that's what he's done. Talking about how excited he is to work with him. You can't help but feel, whether it is propaganda, whether it's not, we know the club's going to feed us information they want us to hear. And then it's for everyone else to sort of decipher that, or the MSM what the MSM anyway, to give the negative side of things. But I just wonder if you're seeing these guys coming out and it's just Celtic playing a few hands right now. Do you know what I mean? Just a few cards in their hand going, this is how good this guy is that's back. Like, use the doubters out there need to try and get on board with this. And maybe the best person to sort of tell that message would be the likes of a Kyogo, your top scorer last season, or your most experienced player, Joe Hart, 36, 37 years old, or whether it be a younger player who's kind of having the pop at the ex-manager as well. So you're getting a wee combination of all these things in that. And I do wonder if it is Celtic we're just a wee bit aware that maybe there is still people to convince that this is the right guy back in charge. I don't need that conviction, but I dare say a Bhoycie 13 years ago, 15 years ago, 15 years ago. Yeah, I'd have probably been a wee bit more snide about Brendan being back as well, and I get that, so why not do it? Loads of comments. Is the Bhoycie Bus electric or diesel? That's a good question. Alistair Jack thinks we're playing poker just now. Maybe there is a bit of that, mate. And that wouldn't surprise me either. We want to make sure by the time the first game of the season comes around, and then, of course, the next thing being the first Champions League game of the season comes around, we've got this all set up that we're all in. That's the message coming for the club. We're all in. And I think signings will achieve that for the Champions League aspect. And I think for the league aspect, we need to have the current brilliant group that Cool Daddy was talking about, or fantastic group for the league. We need to have those guys coming out and saying, well, we want Brendan here. Don't you? And I think stuff like that will work in our favour. It's a long game, but it's clever. Ian McIntosh, I agree with this. Bringing Brendan in quickly is a masterstroke. It's stopped a potential player exodus due to his stature and his ability to improve players. And in fact, what it's led to, Ian, is players you might have thought, like a Maeda, for example, that would only have joined for Ange, actually end up extending their stay. Do you know what I mean? And I do. I absolutely do think that it will be interesting to see as well. It'll be interesting to see as well when in terms of the acquisitions, where it then takes us. But there was other stuff as well. There was rumours about Celtic playing Tottenham. I'm not sure if that was a Twitter thing going on. You never know these days, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyone could send you shit. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's Wolves now has been confirmed for Dublin. I think that's the team we were meant to be playing if I'm right, in South Korea? And then that got cancelled because the tournament was nonsense. Speaking of tournaments, looks like the only way you can't pay your court battles is to tie up into a long-term deal with tournament organisers that you fucked off a year ago, said were amateurish and you didn't rate them, then tie in a partnership with them and get probably about 5% of the cut of any profits made, whilst your players get fucking, prostituted out to any tournament at their beck and call. Tell me you're skint and don't tell me you're skint, or without telling me you're skint, I should say. Unbelievable. Polymorphous, late bus, don't mind if I do. Most buses are late, mate, but this one is exceptional. This is the night bus. I like it, Vincent. Rodgers will get Celtic into the last 16 of the Champions League. Here's my question for the chat, if you will indulge. Would you rather that deep run, which I'm not saying will lead to the final, but it could, I'm not ruling it out, a final over in Ireland, a final in Dublin in the Europa League, or would you take last 16 of the Champions League just to prove you are back mixing it with the big boys? So the run in the Europe would mean a deep run in the Europa League, and the final maybe. I can't guarantee it. But would you take the gamble of going, you will win your first knockout tie in 20 years in the Europa League, so you will go past that and then anything could happen? Or would you just be quite settled for qualification again from a Champions League group? Tricky one, isn't it? Because I think Charles Smith, he thinks the 29th of July, Dublin, Plunge McNugget, Dublin final. I guess the romantic moments, isn't it? But of course, in terms of statement of club, you might be surprised that a lot of people may well take the other option. And the other one would be, of course, proving you're in the top 16 clubs in the Premier competition in Europe. That is one hell of a carrot to dangle, rather than being another Scottish team in a Europa League final. But like I say, that I think the romance side of it for me would lead me to go, oh, give me that deep run. Give me that deep run to Dublin. That'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's all that, I look at Seville, for example. Sorry, I mumbled a bit there. Distracted. I think when the Seville thing happened, I don't know. I think most of the chat in here, and I don't care what ages are, we can all fucking have a carry on. Everyone's views are respected on the bus, whether you've watched them for 30 years, 10 years, 2 years. Nobody cares, mate. But Seville, to me, in my 20, I don't like giving all this away. Nearly 30 years supporting Celtic. Seville was the most special memory for me, and we didn't even win a trophy that year. So what does that tell you? That's the one that lasts the test of time. That's the one that really fucking, you remember how you felt. You remember the pride that you had. You remember how many fans went there. You remember the Celtic being back on the map thing. It just felt like a moment. See, when you look back, that was a moment in time. A real moment in time. And I am I think all generations of fans deserve those moments. I know, obviously, I think the last final we'd been in was 1970 before the Seville in 2003. Very, very, just an iconic moment in my life. And I would hate for other generations. And I also think, see, if you make a statement like getting to a fucking final, right? If you make a statement getting to a European final again, do you know what? It starts refocusing the younger generation of our fans, who I'm not having pops at. I don't blame them. I think they'd be conditioned to believe that trebles and winning league cups and stuff should be the priority, and being better than Rangers is the priority. And I don't subscribe to that. And maybe a last 16 doesn't, if you get cuffed out of that, maybe that doesn't change their mind's landscape. But see, if you're in a final and you've beat some big boys along the way, and you've given moments for them to cling on to and get then addicted to that, that's how you can then force a club to change its outlook And I already think Celtic's outlook has, for whatever reason this summer, I already think we are in the process of changing our outlook. But I think sometimes the fans have always felt, the younger generation in particular, we just can't compete at this level. Yeah, to an extent. To an extent. But also you're not keeping your eyes on that bigger prize. Do you know what I mean? And I think once you get an experience like that, say it was to be deep into the Europa League competition, a semi-final, a final, winning it, fuck knows, this year, I'm convinced that is when the fans will, the younger generation, go, who cares if we go to Ross County, for example, in a League Cup? We're still focused on that Europe stuff again. That's what I want to be in. So it can refocus and put you in a different lane as a Celtic fan. Do you know what I mean? GG, God bless Frankfurt. I mean, I didn't want to bring that up, but yeah, I watched that and I felt a wee bit like it's quite tragic how much you're wanting to watch a team lose in a final that really they've only been back in European competition for 5 years. They're already in a final. We've not been in one in over 20. Their last final was only 12 years before that, whatever entity they were. And instead, I'm buzzing that they got beaten at. I'm supporting a German team. I did find a bit of tragicness, is that a word? In that, but I couldn't help it. So let's hope that we can do that. Celtic, she comes in. Brilliant to have you on the bus, Celtic, again. 2.5 days travelling together. Slept on a park bench. Wouldn't have missed it for all the tea in China. How cool is that? How cool is that? Quite right. Tragedy. When the feeling's gone, you can go on. It's tragedy. Big up, lads. Corvo's in. Monty's in. There's loads of folk in. Right. It's time to do the usual. Before I go, questions now. I need your questions now. It can be about Celtic. I'm happy to answer it. It can be about anything you want. If you decide to go a wee bit off piste, I'm willing to answer those questions too. And then we will call it a night and we will all head off to our beds. Our sweaty beds these days as well. It's muggy as fuck, but I'm not going to turn this pod into talking about the weather and that. Do you know what I mean? Good question, Danny. I like that. Do you like French toast? Yeah, man. Love it. Love it. Paw Patrol, you are naughty. You are a naughty man. What happened? What happened to Axel? The last message I sent him, he'd said that wasn't award-winning content tonight, Russell. Even though there was like 300 folk watching a Championship Manager stream on his channel. And I wrote back, I don't think going down to watch the drummer of a late 80s Britpop, or not Britpop band, but late 80s British band playing an acoustic version of a 30-year-old single is award-winning content either, mate. And he blocked me. That was pretty much it. Chris Kerr, I cannot bring that comment up, mate. Yeah, plenty of reasons for that. What else have we got? How much do you think we'll spend this summer? I think we'll spend 35 million. 35 million pounds, I think, could be spent. I'm just saying that, mate. I'm excited. I'm excited. What colour shade is your hair? Dark! Like dark brown. Not like black or that, but dark brown, Pam. Your favourite band? The Elastic Band Punch. That's my favourite band, The Elastic Band. Love it. But if not, Oasis, I support like a football team. I never listen to them that often. Or sometimes I do. But like they wouldn't be on like many of my playlists. Oasis. They wouldn't feature heavily on them. But like they're my favourite band. I've just listened to the songs too many times. But I support them like absolutely like you would support a football team if they released a shite album, win, lose or draw. That was who I supported. And I'll probably always be biased towards them if I'm honest. 3 favourite Oasis songs off the top of your head: Rock and Roll Star, Slide Away, Hello, that's the one. That'd be my top 3 off the top of my head. I loved it. I love them all. The wee fella is self-obsessed beyond words. I mean, just take a look at the bio on his on their YouTube channel. Doesn't even mention what they do. just says we win loads of awards. It's fucking weird. But I don't want to like have too many pops, you know what I mean? I'm fucking done with that. I don't want him coming round and giving me a, I don't know, a paper cutter, you know, attacking me with a fucking stapler or something. Do you know what I mean? Will I be adding to the quality contributors already on the bus? Asked Michael. There's not much space there, Michael. See, to be honest with you, mate, it's like this is all by. Oh, there's a wee bit of design, but I would rather just say luck than design. The folk that we've ended up getting involved have been absolutely, absolutely brilliant. I can't thank them all enough for the work that they do. They've all been shit hot, mate. And for whatever reason, they all seem to like have a real buzz and a drive to actually keep doing the channel. Do you know what I mean? So like and creating more content. I mean, Steve, for example, a few weeks ago, he was off for like a week off his work, or he was doing night shift, something like that. And he just decided to do lunchtime shows like 4 days. So that having guys like that already, you don't want to upset the apple cart too much, you know what I mean? Don't want the judge getting raging on that, you know what I mean? No, but genuinely, I mean, the team that we've got is pretty full. Patch McLaughlin, the Verve, or Ocean Cut or the Verve every day. Richard Ashcroft, absolute hero of mine. Bhoycie, have you ever seen a Macam in Europe? I don't know what to say to that, mate. Good luck in the Champions League, though, mate. Corvo, you've been brilliant fun on the bus of I just got a message. I'll not say by who because she'll get all embarrassed. But she says, "Do you like smoked salmon?" I know I kid on him rock and roll and all that, but I do like smoked salmon. Mark Riley, why did you give up your pub? Great question, Mark. Good knowledge. We were at the end of the lease. I'd signed 1 year extension by then. It was only a 5 year lease, and I did another year, but doing another year was stupid because the landlord who I love, the two of us were just strong characters. The pub was flying, mate. Like he was making good money, I was making good money, and everyone was a win. But whether he likes to admit or not, he just wanted to squeeze a bit more. He wanted the pub sort of refurbed, but like on Mac, like he would pay for it up front, but I was to then pay it back. But that was like including fixtures and fittings and stuff. And I was like, the pub wasn't refurbed when I took it over. I disagree with that. And I was just like, no, man, I ain't doing that for you, mate. So I went, if you want me to go, we'll go. I thought he would have caved because he was definitely doing better than ever. And he probably thought I would have caved because I loved it so much. So the 2 years left, I was the first one to get my deposit back in 30 years off him. And I still miss it to this day, to be honest with you. So neither of us really won. But we've got the bus now. What's my order from the Indian takeaway boys? I love this shit. This is great. A garam masala, mate. That's a garam masala. That's my absolute favourite. Would be a garam masala. Always remember as well, if you're ordering lamb for the Indian, it's got to be the tender lamb. Can't get the lamb tikka. But if it was a garam masala, I would get. Yeah, I'd probably get a chicken garam masala. To be fair. Yeah, that's it. Garlic cheese naan. Why not? Favorite beer, Bhoycie. Ugh, I don't care. Honestly, I'll drink petrol, mate. I'm not bothered. I'm being asked now in messages from a girl if I have a girlfriend. She's at it. She knows it's her. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Big Tony is sound, Bhoycie. Get him on. Do you mean Tony for the Four Tims? He'll be on every month. If you mean Tony Haggerty, that would be a dream. That'd be a dream. Thanks very much, Alistair. Monty, I have said in the past we need a female on the pod. It'd be good to see. Oh, Jesus, Monty, I'm taking that off. Jesus, Monty. Oh, jeez, oh, mate. You're getting me in trouble, mate. But yeah, if any female contributors want to join, then absolutely. Paw Patrol, love your stuff. I back your points. I don't agree with most of your points, but I can respect them. Paw Patrol, that's the gift of having been able to debate something, mate. I totally agree with you on that. It's not about, I didn't want fucking everyone watching this because they agree with me. I want it to be, we have a conversation, I'll try and back up any point I make about Celtic and give you my logic behind it. That doesn't mean, no, you don't need to agree to it. So if we do disagree, sound. Come back to me with the exact same format of your point and the reasons you do disagree, I'll take that all day long, pal. So no, I really appreciate that as well. Anything else? Favourite gig you can remember, says Polymorphous. Oh, fuck, man. Oh. It's got to be Oasis again, 2005. Just because it was a moment in time. I went to Hampden. It was the first time I'd ever seen them in 2005. I was 17 and a half, but obsessed by this point. Do you know what I mean? And then, like, 3 days, I don't know how I afforded all this. I must have been like, what to fucking Summerfield, which is now the Co-op. Some of you won't even know who Summerfield is. And genuinely, I was just like, oh, where are we going? Book a hotel in Manchester, beat the queues and get tickets for a sold-out gig at Manchester's brand new City of Manchester Stadium, which is now called the Etihad. No bother to me then. Where was I pulling the money from? I certainly wasn't getting help from my mum, trust me. So I don't know how I'd afforded it all then, but it was absolutely brilliant fun. John Paul Money, are you East Coast or West Coast? I live in Stirling, so that's pretty central. That's where I'm from, Bridge of Allen, just beside it. But I lived in Fife as well the last sort of few years before I moved back here, and it was all good. All good. I could live anywhere, man. I'm always happy. Anyway, this has been brilliant fun tonight. The bus rolls on. Thanks so much for joining us. And I think sometimes we need to use the channel this way. Oh, one question before I go. I've pitched this idea to a few folks. So please, before we go, because I'm very, very keen on obviously doing different types of shows. But obviously, Celtic's my thing. That's what I'm best at talking about. That's my favourite thing to talk about. That's the thing I read a bazillion stupid blogs or articles on a daily basis. Obviously, as you know, I like the music and stuff. I mean, I was considering doing like once a month maybe to start it. And by the way, if anyone wants to stay in your lane, I take that on board too, because maybe that would be the best advice I could get right now. But I was considering like once a month doing like an hour show, Bhoycie's Jukebox, and then like I'll put the headphones on, I'll play whatever song. I'll tell you what song I'm going to play. You'll have like a minute or two to look it up, and then we'll just sort of listen to it together, and I'll do a different sort of playlist, like a mixed Voices mixtape. That sounds pretty cool. And we could do that maybe at the end of a month on a Sunday, or the beginning of a month on a Sunday. Tony for the 4 Tims about the end of the month on a Sunday. So we could do that. I mean, I think that'd be a laugh, but I don't want folk to go, oh, if he's way getting ahead of himself, and he should just stick to the Celtic stuff, which I totally I would put my hands up to that, by the way. But Bhoycie's Jukebox or Bhoycie's Mixtape, I think, could be fun. And we all listen along at the same time. So you'll get plenty of notice before the next track comes on, and we'll talk about it. And then we play it. But I didn't want folk to then go, this was meant to be a Celtic pod. I'm unsubscribing. I would rather stay in my lane if that's what the consensus is. So we will find out. Anyway, a big shout out to you all. 147 live right now. Maximum break, you could say. It's been brilliant fun. But if anyone wants Bhoycie guess that rebel tune, yeah, well, we wouldn't be playing over the idea. But I think we could. Oh, there we go. Stephen Ray, the Celtic Rock and Rose podcast he did a few years back, caused more controversy than Celtic points. I know, and I'm like, I didn't want to fucking fuck off what's been an unbelievable bus that we've created, do you know what I mean? And go, I didn't know about that, mate, do you know what I mean? But notwithstanding that, I think we could have a lot of fun on a Sunday afternoon with a mixtape. I will put it out in the community chat. How about that? I'll do that tomorrow, and we'll wait a week. We'll do a wee poll, and we'll see what folks think. And if folks say no, that's cool. The only problem with polls is it'll be wee fannies that don't actually subscribe to the channel that just are jealous that'll come on and put all the no's. But we'll try our best. But yeah, we could see what we could do. We'll see what happens with that. Anyway, I'll let you get back to the rest of your Tuesday night. Enjoy. Been brilliant fun tonight. Much love to you all. I'll see you there.